Oops, sorry. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 9:30 a.m. Members of the public have been invited to participate in this meeting of council by attending in person at the council chamber at the municipal office located at 10227 Ilderton Road in Coldstream, or by contacting the municipal clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Members of the public may also access the meeting live stream on our Middlesex Centre YouTube channel. The municipality of Middlesex Centre recognizes that we're gathering on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Lenape peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people on the land and are committed to moving forward in a spirit of reconciliation and respect. Our neighboring First Nations communities, which continue to live as sovereign nations, include the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. There are no additions to the agenda for December 3rd, 2025, so I will look to council members. Does anyone wish to declare a pecuniary interest? I see no hands. So the first item, we have delegations and presentations, and this is with respect to Project Zero 2025. The presentation of Enbridge Gas and the Fire Marshal's Public Safety Council and the Middlesex Centre Fire Services. So is anybody?
Yeah. Can you grab them?
Oh, okay. Oh, maybe they didn't think, well, they don't have to say anything, do they?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. We can just introduce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they don't.
Mhm.
Or should I get Middlesex Centre Fire Services to introduce? Okay. 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 So this morning we have Chris Young, Supervisor, Capital Management and Administration from Enbridge Gas, Mark Ramsey, Supervisor, Low Compression Station, Enbridge Gas, Jamie Kovacs, Executive Director, Fire Marshal's Public Fire Safety Council, and there were members of the Middlesex Centre Fire Services team around to support the photo event. So we just want to say thanks very much for the support that we get from our partners in the community, and I'd welcome any comments or any words you'd like to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Just so.
Yeah. Second.
Oh, here.
He's right. Oh, there it goes. Oh,
And I thought I had to hold it down a bit. My fault. Sorry.
yeah. Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. Most appreciative of your time and the council's time as well. Thank you. And I'm Chris Young, as you mentioned, from Enbridge. This is Mark Ramsey and James. Yeah. We're very happy to be here, make the presentation today of the combination smoke detectors and CO detectors. As you know, Enbridge has partnered with the Fire Council and the Fire Marshal's Office for many years now. And the donation this year is $450,000 to local communities within Ontario for smoke detectors and CO. Our goal, I think, along with many others, is to reduce the frequency or the death rate on people who succumb to CO exposure, especially to zero. We've made great strides. We're getting closer. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but the fingers are crossed. The more publicity we give to CO and smoke, the better. So, yeah, as I said, $450,000 this year for the annual donation to the province and to the community here. I think it was approximately 200 smoke and CO detectors to be distributed throughout the community when the fire hall, is out making calls or checking on, doing welfare checks, that type of thing. So we're more than happy to partner with the community, and thank you very much for your time today. And yes, best wishes to all. And yeah, thank you.
Well, I just say thanks on behalf of council and our municipality. The goal of zero that's the right target to aim for. Our firefighters are out there. I just had an inspection at my house not 2 weeks ago, I guess. So they're doing their part, and if we all work together, that's how we make the best progress. So your time, effort, contributions, and donations are very much appreciated, and everyone benefits. So thank you for everything you do.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
There's a new fire code coming out Jan 1st. So I personally get upset every year when I see we're just still trending with over 30 deaths a year in Ontario from carbon monoxide. I think it's quiet. It's one of those, unfortunately, when there's a fatality, we don't hear about it, right? I was shocked every year. Well, the year before that, it was 40. So the new fire code is coming out Jan 1st, and it's based around carbon monoxide alarms. So I want to educate all of you so that you can go and check your homes and then educate your friends as well. So it's not just outside of the sleeping area anymore where you have a fuel burning appliance. It's on every level, right? So I really, the donation this year by Enbridge is probably the most perfectly timed donation. And I look at it as they've donated 14,220 alarms. It's not alarms. Those are 14,220 families that at 2 a.m. maybe are unprotected when the fire department shows up because we're able to leave that alarm behind. There's no data. We might have just saved that family down the road. And these days people are challenged. So number one, thank you to Enbridge for this. Every year they just seem to increase it more and more, the funding towards the alarms. Number two, I want all of you to go home tonight. This is your homework. Test the alarms if you have them, right? Make sure they haven't expired, and then make sure you're ready for the new fire code. Talk to your fire chief and spread the word in the community. That's what I ask of you today. So thanks.
And thank you. I don't think anyone here could say it better. So we appreciate it, and it's a gift to the whole community. So thank you very much. Okay. And have a great season ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay, we can now move on to the adoption of the minutes. The motion before us is that the minutes of the Middlesex Centre Council meeting held on November 19th, 2025 be adopted as printer. If I could have a mover and a seconder, please. I have Councillor Burrs and Councillor Arts. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we have one item on the consent agenda. The motion before us is that the agenda for December 3rd be adopted as recommended. It's with respect to tax adjustments. If we could have a mover and a seconder, Deputy Mayor Brennan, Councillor Cates, thank you. All in favor? And opposed? None. Okay, it's carried. All right. Moving on to staff reports, the first item up today is the 2025 Ontario Structures Inspection Manual Summary and Report. And I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Giesen, the Manager of Transportation, who will be speaking to that report. So when you're ready, Andrew.
Through the chair, and good morning to you and members of council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today regarding the municipality's Ontario Structure Inspection Manual Report, so the OSIM for short. I'm joined today by Nick Gowing and Ryan Munn from BM Ross, who will also be providing a presentation to you on the OSIM summary report. But before I turn things over to BM Ross, I just wanted to quickly touch on a few items from the staff report. So overall, the average bridge condition index, or the BCI, of the structures reviewed in 2025 have increased from the 2023 inspection BCI average. This increase in average BCI can be attributed to council's ongoing prioritization of structure replacement and rehabilitation through the annual budget process. This prioritization also moves the average BCI rating closer to the recently approved asset management plan target of 70. So it is expected with continued prioritization of rehabilitation and replacement of structures over the next 5 years that we should be in a good position to attain that average BCI rating. Also, staff will continue to utilize and leverage cost containment and reduction strategies where possible when we're dealing with structures. So primarily around pre-purchasing long lead items, items such as precast culverts, and then grouping similar projects together to realize economies of scale and more competitive pricing. I will pause at this time and ask if there are any questions sort of regarding the staff report. I would be happy to answer them now or following the presentation from BM Ross, whichever council would prefer.
I'll look to council. Is there anything now? Go ahead, Deputy.
Just one quick question for Andrew. Our scores going up, but looking down the road at the pace we're currently at, is that going to be sufficient? Or at some point, do we need to start looking at increasing that to keep it going in the right direction?
Through the chair to Deputy Mayor, provided we generally follow the projects identified in the OSIM summary report, we should be in good shape to meet that target of 70. There is sort of a blip in structures. There was a lot of them built in the 60s and 70s. So there is going to be a larger increase in structures that need to be rehabilitated and replaced, but then it starts to level off once we get through that sort of hump.
Okay. And if I could just add on, the size of those structures too, the ones that are older, the 60s, or that hump, is there a difference in that? So we built bigger bridges, say, I don't know, the Kilworth Bridge isn't a bad example because it's not ours, but I'm just thinking if you've got big structures like that or a bunch of little ones, is there a difference, or has that trend changed, or is that impacting it as well, not just the number?
Through the chair to the mayor's question. Yeah, I would say structures are sort of increasing slowly over time. Some additional hydraulic capacity needed to support, some more significant weather events that we're seeing, the frequency of those events. Fields are more likely to be tiled now than they were back in the 60s and 70s. So that increases sort of the need for that hydraulic capacity. Also, the roadside manual has changed as well. So we generally see longer structures as well. So yes, the structures are generally increasing over time.
I think I saw, there you go, you're green, good to go.
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Andrew. The structures under 3 meters, are we, other than Hugh Arts, who's tracking them? Yeah, let me get rid of.
Through the chair to Councilor Burrs, yes, we do have an inventory of the structures under 3 meters in size. It was conducted by our summer students over a number of years to sort of get a good handle on that. I think we're sitting around that 900 mark for those culverts that are less than 3 meters in size. I would like to say that we are proactive in replacing. However, it is a little bit challenging. So we are primarily reactive. If we know that there are culverts that need immediate attention, we do tackle those as quickly as we can, but it is primarily reactive at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think that's it for now. So continue with your agenda there.
All right, with that, I will turn things over to Nick and the folks from BM Ross to go through their presentation.
There we go. Good morning, council. So my name is Nick Gowing. I'm a structural engineer with BM Ross, and with me I have Ryan Munn, also a structural engineer, overseeing, I guess, my contributions to this project. So myself, I was just
Down towards you.
sorry. So myself, I've been generally responsible with the overview and inspection of the bridges within the municipality this year. So do I have a presentation queued up? We have a brief kind of summary of the tasks we completed this year. Thank you. So I will jump read in and get going with this. So a little bit of an agenda here on the presentation. We'll review the legislative requirements related to the bridge inspections, touch on the scope of that bridge needs study, which kind of encompasses the inspections and the reporting. Have a little bit of a summary of observations, things we've seen in the field and inferences from that data. Specifically related to the age, the condition, and the BCI scoring of your structures. We have some recommended improvements that I can gloss over a little bit to outline the type of work we're suggesting and some concluding comments. So a few Ontario regulations are noted there. Essentially, what they state is that it's a requirement to have all bridges inspected every 2 years by a professional engineer. These inspections are carried out in accordance with the Ontario Structural Manual, or OSIM manual, we often refer to it as. And the definition of a bridge in Ontario is any structure with a span over 3 meters or 10 feet. So the scope of our bridge needs study, essentially we start by collecting as much kind of desktop information as we can. That includes mapping of the structures within the municipality, as well as any previous reports or information collected. Of note, in the municipality of Middlesex Center, there are 152 bridges or culverts and 2 retaining wall structures. So once we have, excuse me, once we have reviewed that information from kind of a desktop perspective, we will visually we'll visually inspect all of the structures. So we'll go to each site, take some photos, make some measurements if required, and generally do a review of the condition of that structure. Along with that, we sort of summarize that information we've taken and put it into what we call an OSIM form for that structure. With the OSIM form, we develop a list of needs or recommended works. If there are any, we assign some timing to those works. And we also provide some cost estimates for those works, including some engineering and other things like that. Once we've done that for all the structures across the municipality, we prepare a summary report and finalize those individual OSIM forms. And we put it into a nice presentation. So in order to prioritize works, we have a little bit of a priority scoring system. This is a simplified version here that you're seeing, but I'm not going to dive too deep into this on the technical side. One thing that I do want to mention with this is that this system doesn't necessarily account for things like preventative maintenance or associated safety needs, things that might be sort of roadside hazards or similar that aren't necessarily directly attached to a structure or site. So generally with this system, we look at the performance of the structure, the probability or probability of failure, pardon me, or direct condition, or the consequence of failure, which might kind of be interpreted as the impact to vehicle travel, essentially. Is a good example of that one. So these kind of scores all sort of sum up to a value out of 20, and that helps us prioritize that work based on relativity to the other structures within the municipality. So I have a graph that kind of shows the age distribution of the structures. You can see, as Andrew had mentioned, the bulk of the structures have been constructed after the 1950s. Puts them around that 65-year mark or newer. So the average age of your structures in the municipality is noted at 44 years there. One thing I'd like to draw attention to with this graph, as well as the text in the upper left corner, we typically expect a life expectancy of 80 years for bridge structures and concrete culverts. That's generally reflected across this region of the province. And we typically see repairs done at the 30 and 60-year mark. So that type of repair helps achieve that 80-year life expectancy. And a corrugated steel pipe culvert generally is the type of structure that would be used at. They have a life expectancy of 50 years. Sorry. So here I have a graph that depicts the bridge condition index, or BCI score. This is just kind of grouped in ranges of, or increments of 10. So we've got quite, I guess, condensed amount of structures in that 60 and higher, range, which generally means your structures are in good condition. And I think that average BCI is reflective at 67. So again, a good mark to be at. And this is essentially a combination of those two graphs. We see that we've got the underlying age distribution again, and this red line really just depicts the BCI corresponding to the age of the structures. So essentially what we're looking at is newer structures are in better condition than older structures. Another thing to highlight here is we can see at that 1990 and earlier mark, we kind of have a plateau that might be indicative of some repairs done to those older structures, again, at that 30 and 60-year mark. Excuse me. So here we have a couple lists of the 1 to 5 year recommended works. Not going to dive too much into this. There's quite a bit of information there, but that's the format that we typically are going to provide this information in, with some recommended works, the BCI score of that structure, and the anticipated year for that work to occur in, that priority score, and the cost estimates for the work. I'd like to note as well there, I believe we have 3 structures at the top of that list that are noted as 2025. Those have been replaced. And one structure below that, C315, is one that we are keeping a close eye on. So just another list here, again, in the same format that depicts the 6 to 10 year recommended work. You'll notice it's quite a bit shorter of a list, but that doesn't necessarily encompass everything that might show up in that time frame. Structures tend to deteriorate at different rates, and that can be difficult to predict in that 6 to 10 year period. So here is on the left the full map for the municipality. We just have a couple of, I guess, close-ups of some condensed areas where there's a few structures that just make it hard to depict on the map there. I believe they're generally in that northwest region of the municipality. So the bridges in Middlesex Center are overall in a fair to good condition state. And assuming that 80-year lifespan that we talked about, we would recommend that about 9 to 10 structures should be replaced in any 5-year period. And that helps to avoid a concentrated replacement program where you may have to be well in excess of that for a short period of time. So we have 22 structures recommended for replacement in the next 10 years, which kind of falls in line with that 2 structures per year. Major repairs or replacement needs, we use a combination of engineering judgment along with the timing recommended for that repair and the theoretical scoring system to prioritize the 1 to 5 year list specifically. And we generally try to look at structures that require structural safety repair work and preventative maintenance. Try to prioritize that over other structures. That tends to help with costs as the structure ages as well. So sometimes the work we recommend isn't always chosen for various reasons. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but there is, we feel we make a very reasonable recommendation on that work, but we recognize that there's other options available generally at most of the structures. The probable costs that we have provided are also based off of the year of inspection, 2025 for this instance, and those costs should be inflated as required in the future. So I have a few structures of maybe higher significance kind of listed here. I'll give a brief overview on each of them, and there's a little bit of a theme to them as well. But for starters, this structure B537, I believe it's quite high on the list in terms of priority. It's a concrete bridge, pardon me, precast concrete girder bridge. I believe it is just east of Kamoka on Oxbow Drive, and we are recommending to convert this to a semi-integral structure, replace the bearings with some concrete patch repairs to the deck, and replace the curbs, barriers, and drains. So essentially that conversion to semi-integral is going to eliminate the expansion joint at the deck ends, and that's going to help to mitigate any leaking that will come through the deck ends. And it's kind of difficult to see from the picture in the top right, but there's some moisture staining on that abutment that is indicative of the expansion joints leaking. So repairs to prevent deterioration of those substructure elements should help with the life expectancy of that structure. Next structure, B529, also on Oxbow Drive. I believe it's just further east. Very similar repair type. We're going to convert to semi-integral to eliminate that expansion joint. Look at patching the deck again, as well as replacing the curbs and barriers and drains, and waterproofing and paving. And the last one here, B528 on Oxbow Drive. Very similar structure again, very similar repair type. Convert to semi-integral and remove that expansion joint. We do have some deck top patches again, and in this instance, we've recommended just some patch repairs to the curbs and barriers. They appear to be in relatively good condition. But that doesn't necessarily mean that an option to fully replace them, similar to the other two structures, would be off the table by any means. Along with that, we replace the deck drains and waterproof and pave again. So a couple statements to wrap up our presentation here. We're recommending a combination of culvert replacements and bridge repairs, as well as some maintenance type work. The approximate dollar amount over the 10-year period is in around that $2.35 million per year plus HST. And again, provincial regulations require that all structures be inspected every 2 years. So these recommendations that we provided in 2025 are going to be reviewed and assessed again in 2 years and may change. I believe that is all I have. So if there's any questions.
Thank you, Nick. I'll look to council. I have Councillor Burrs.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your report. We don't have any wood structures in Middlesex Center, do we?
No.
Okay,
none-
good.
none.
So what percentage are concrete? Can you estimate?
That's funny. That was something I was thinking about recently. We are able to track that fairly quickly as to what percentage would be concrete, and CSP, I could give you an exact number.
You don't need to,
After-
just the vast majority
Yeah,
are concrete.
essentially, I would say
And
that's
what's the
accurate.
metal we use? We don't use coated steel, do we? We just use steel in our
I
call.
believe the bulk of the corrugated steel structures are galvanized.
Okay,
There are a few that are polymer coated, which is a newer style of coating on that structure.
so if we continue with the estimated expenditure that you're saying, about 2.4 million a year, we should be well over the 70% that we're looking for, correct?
That is potential. Yeah, like I said, it's difficult to project things beyond that kind of 5 year. Things can deteriorate at very different rates in that time frame.
Okay, I got you. What was the last thing I was going to ask you? Oh, your probable costs. So we've estimated projects and the pricing has gone up. So it was hard for us to budget and come in at that. Are you saying your estimates for costs of future projects are based on what we've done in the past? Or do you have some sort of master database where you're looking at all projects in the area and what they cost? How do you come up with that?
Generally, those are based off of projects we've done in this area, not maybe specifically Middlesex Center, but in this general area of Ontario. We do reference other projects further to the north. We cover quite a large area at BM Ross, but yeah, generally they are based off of historical costs and inflated.
Okay, thank you.
And I have Councillor Hartz.
Through your, excuse me, through you, Madam Mayor, this is more of a comment directed at both Andrew and Nick. I realize structure's got to be replaced. And for most of the urban population, the bridge out, I don't care. I'm just gonna go this way, that way. But for the agriculture community, it's a giant pain in the butt because I've got a farm there. I got to go around the block. Oh, that road's not very good for farm machinery. I got to go 2 blocks around the road. And then there's Coldstream Concrete here too. Their trucks every day. If that bridge gets fixed, Headley Drive's terrible road for trucks, right? It's blind spots and they got to get done, but I'd really appreciate when you go at a job, just do it and get it done. 3 weeks to replace a culvert on a road. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I know there's going to be inconvenience, but the shortest time possible would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Oops, sorry.
Go ahead, Councillor Cates.
Take you through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for your report. I did have a question, but you've already answered it, so that's great. I just wanted to, kind of comment that this is one of those things that people don't see that needs to be done or needs to be taken care of. And, when we talk about budgets and tax increases and, but we all want to have a safe bridge to drive in. I once lived pardon me, in another province, and there was very unsafe bridges, and you often saw big pictures on the front page of the local paper where a dump truck had drove across and the bridge, and he was in the bridge. So I avoided that area, like you said. I went half an hour around so I didn't have to drive on some of the scary ones. So I appreciate what goes into all this, and it's something that we can't forget that we need to pay for. So thank you for your report.
Oh,
Thank you. Through the mayor, I had a question and I wanted to say thank you so much for your report. And my question was kind of a follow on from Hugh's regarding, obviously I'm really happy that you've done this report and focused on the age of the structures, but just the convenience to the residents. So Oxbow Drive was written in here. Are those residents going to receive construction again? Right. And it's in it. And as we all know, that is a big pain. And we were just, is there thought ever put into trying to do it in the right order? Maybe this is a question for Andrew as far as that goes. Just trying to, limit those inconveniences that we face. Because once it gets finished, then all of a sudden it's happening again and you just want to pull your hair out. Thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Cole. So the example that Nick shared with Oxbow, it is contained in the budget for 1 year for all 3 structures to be done, partly to limit the social impact associated with construction to residents, but also to realize economies of scale by having a larger package put out there so we can realize some competitive pricing that way as well.
Great. Thank you for focusing on the financials too. Thank you.
go ahead.
Thank you. Through the mayor to Andrew. Yes, Andrew, this is part of our asset management plan, I'm assuming. So is this trending higher than what our asset management plan is doing at this point? Or are we falling behind in the asset management plan, I guess, compared to the report?
Through the chair to Councillor Shipley, I would say, provided we generally follow what's recommended in the OSIMs, we should be at or very close to that target for the asset management plan. As sort of mentioned, there is a bit of a a hump here that we're working through to get through some of those structures from the 60s and 70s. But then after that, it should generally plateau, and we should be close to that 70 at or near, slightly above. But I don't expect a significant overage over that 70 by any means.
Anyone else? I don't see any more lights coming on. Thank you, gentlemen, for the report and for explaining all of the nits that we don't get. We'll look forward to the update in 2 years. So yeah, thank you kindly. Helps with everything. Okay, now we can go to Stephanie Bergman, Manager of Planning and Development, who's going to speak about the OPA 59 Ontario OLT partial approvals. And when you're ready, Stephanie.
Thank you. Through the mayor to the rest of council. I'm here just to provide a really brief update. You'll see that we did receive a decision from the OLT on a very limited scope through OPA 59. So as you know, we are still going through that process, and we have some hearings scheduled in December, and there will be more hearings, unfortunately, in the new year. But mostly due to our Housing Accelerator Fund commitments, we couldn't wait any longer. So together with our lawyer, we did submit a motion to pull out some of these policies that were non-contentious to the OLT appeal parties in order to get those enforced in effect. So that is the decision we received. So it is only a few policies on additional residential units. There was just a minor policy on our delegation of authority, which actually came through our bylaw as well. So you've seen this before. And the intent of that policy is to allow when we have surplus farm dwelling severances and the zoning bylaws that come together at the same time. Lately, we've been just bringing these both to council because zoning bylaws have to come to council. Well, having this delegated authority policy and in our bylaw will allow those to be heard before the committee. So again, just to kind of for consistency, those two files can go together. And then there was just a very minor update to our community improvement plan policies to support more broad economic development strategies that we're looking at and that you're going to see at our next council meeting as well. So again, the I will come back to the ARU policies because they are slightly revised from what was brought forward through OPA 59. They're just a little bit more general. I'm going to call these kind of interim policies because we know that the county is doing quite a bit of work through their official plan right now to really further define those. So again, the policies were brought in order to support our half commitment. So to ensure that we can permit the 4 units as of right in serviced areas and 3 in agricultural areas, with certain conditions, of course, and then you'll see the more specific regulations come forward in our bylaw that we're also going to be, our zoning bylaw that we're going to be bringing forward very soon as well. That will be published publicly in the coming weeks, and then hopefully very early in the new year, you'll have that before council. But again, this very kind of narrowed down small portion of OPA 59, again, is just being brought forward now through the direction from the OLT, and we'll continue working on the rest. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for that report, Stephanie. Does anyone want to ask a question about any of the 3? Okay, Councillor Burrs.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship, through you to Stephanie. Maybe I missed it, but there's references to OPA 69. Like, are we going 59 to 69? Are we going in tens and the county's on 1, 2, 3? Or can you explain this?
Yeah, of course, that was just the next number in the list. Because again, because we pulled that out as a separate, that was the next number on our list. So I think we're actually up to 72 now on our list. But yeah, that wasn't an error.
Go ahead, Councillor.
Stephanie, the ARU stuff, is there something in there, excuse me, that's going to tighten up? Because, we've had that one on Sunningdale where it slipped through and land tribunal granted it. Is there language in there that's going to stop that kind of thing?
It's the best we can do right now. I do think there is very specific language that they are not intended to be two primary or principal dwellings on the lot. It is a primary, and the ARU is supposed to, has to function as subordinate to that unit. So we've done what we can. And I will just note, I know there was concern, especially with that one that went through, but that was a very unique situation. And I think especially getting our zoning in place, I feel confident that we won't necessarily be in that position. At that point, there was really nothing to go off of. But again, once we bring in our zoning bylaw regulations to regulate that, I think we'll be in a much better position.
I don't see any other hands, so we do have a motion before us, and that is that report PLA number 70, 2025 regarding the OPA 59 OLT partial approvals be received, and that the bylaws associated with the attached decision from the OLT as part of the ongoing official plan amendment 59 appeal be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for approval. And I have Councillor Burrs, Councillor Shipley. Thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Oh, okay. I skipped over one part. We didn't do a motion for the report from the transportation. So if we just go back to number 8.1, the motion there was that report PWE 60 2025 regarding the 2025 Ontario Structures Inspection Manual Summary Report be received for information. Councillor Coles and Councillor Shipley, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Sorry about that. My apologies. Okay, there are no notices of motion today. We can move to correspondence. Before I read the motion, is there anything here that anyone would like to pull or comment on? Go ahead, Councillor Cates.
Thank you through you, Madam Mayor. Just as I am a board member of the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority, one of the items here is regarding the Coldstream Conservation Area Master Plan that they're working on, and they do have an online survey right now that is until January the 5th. So I just wanted to highlight that. So if anybody is interested in giving their comments, they would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Good point. Go ahead, Councillor Burrs.
Just in follow on to what Councillor Kate said, are you alluding to the fact of the 35?
No,
Okay, so,
only across the road.
all right, so I could bring this up under other business, but you see Kettle Creek has written to us with their budget and whatever. So we as a board of Kettle Creek decided that we're going to meet as an executive committee, which I'm on, to respond to the amalgamation of 35 to 7, okay? Now, the environmental registry is open for comments, but the interesting thing is the slant on that is, what comments do you have to make this work? Like they don't want you to comment on what they're doing on the structure, okay? So we as a council, I was wondering, do we want to do anything? Do we want to make a statement? Oh, did you? Sorry. I've got some information. What is it? The next meeting, Brianna?
Yes.
Okay. I'm out. Thank you.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, then the motion here would be that the Council for the Municipality of Middlesex Centre receive correspondence items 10.1 through 10.4 as information. I have Councillor Cates, Deputy Mayor Brand, thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, Deputy, would you like to walk us through the highlights from County Council?
Yeah, just a couple of things, in addition to what's in the correspondence from the county meeting. A couple of tenders were let early, so they could get the tenders out there for a couple of new snowplow trucks. One new 1-ton combination dump and spreader body snowplow harness. So those 3 trucks tenders are going out for them. The Trossachs paramedic station rental agreement between the ambulance service and county has been agreed upon. There was a third quarter performance report for 2025 budget. And there were several changes to some speed limits within the county, one being on Glendon Drive down to 50 kilometers. And there are several other ones outside of our municipality, but those are the additional updates to what's not in the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you, Deputy. And I was going down Glendon as they were changing the signs yesterday. So yeah, it's in place now. Okay, Councillor Burrs, I see your light.
Oops, I wait.
Oh, again, there you go.
So I don't know whether the deputy mayor was commenting on the most recent county council. I think you were. The most notable thing for us on the board of Middlesex Center Archives is the county has authorized, it looks like it was a full vote positive, to do a feasibility study to see if the archives can be supported by the county in some way on a permanent basis going forward. Just wanted to mention that. It's been a tough slug for Middlesex Center Archives, but the study's going to be paid for in 2026, and we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Okay. And the deputy?
Just one further update. We did have another county council meeting on November 27th, at which time Mayor Sue Clark from Adelaide Metcalf was named the warden for 2026. So we congratulate her on that. And we also say thank you to the past warden, Brian Romp from North Middlesex, for his year of service as the warden of Middlesex County.
Okay, thank you for those county updates. And if there are no further questions, then is there other business that councillors want to raise? Seeing no hands, then we do have to go into a closed session. There's the motion before us that the Council for the Municipality of Middlesex Centre adjourn to closed session at 10:16 a.m. pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss the following matters. And it is one item pursuant to section 239(2)B, which is regarding personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and under 239(2)D, regarding labor relations or employee renegotiations, and under 239(2)F, regarding advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and that would be CAO recruitment. So if I could have a mover, and thank you, Councillor Coles and Councillor Burrs, all in favor? And that is carried. So we'll give a moment